You're watching the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. I'm Tyler Jones, and coming up on today's program, I'm going to tell you why Jared McCain is that dude.
I'm Rylan Stiles. Let's talk about the playoff picture and how it's solidifying around the NBA.
I'm Jay Lamb. I'm going to talk about the MVP race.
This is Locked On's Thunder Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Thunder talk gets real. No filters, no fluff, just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game, the way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Thunder Squad Show starts now.
What's good, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb back here with you as we got a loaded show ahead. We'll talk about Jared McCain right off the top coming up in just a few moments. We'll take a look at the MVP race as well. How do things stack up after SGA broke Wilt's record last week? Three-point shooting has been an improvement for Oklahoma City. Something that was a question mark for them in their playoff run last year has turned into a strength for this team. And we'll also take a look at the updated playoff picture, how things are stacking up in the Western Conference, coming up in our final segment here on today's program. Before we go any further in today's show, we want to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, that is 5 Hour Energy. Today's show is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Guys, by the way, for those at home curious, I am actually inside Paycom Center today, believe it or not, coming at you from the Champions Club. So you could call this place the house that Jeremy Lamb built here at Paycom Center. But good to be in the building on a non-Thunder event nonetheless, but here covering the NCAA tournament. Great atmosphere already for what we saw with Nebraska getting a win earlier today against Troy. But, guys, let's start with Jared McCain, as he had a terrific night last night against the Brooklyn Nets. In 28 minutes, scored 26 points, going 9 of 16 from the field, 5 of 9 from three-point range. And you look at some of the games he's had prior. Minnesota, 15 points, 13 against Denver, 20 against Chicago, 11 against Dallas, 14 against Denver last month as well. Jared McCain really coming into his own. And, guys, he looks like he's that dude for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. The way that he has stepped up and found a natural role, that he's blended in so fast with this Oklahoma City Thunder team. When you go back to the trade deadline, I remember we were talking on this show. We didn't know if Oklahoma City was going to do anything. In fact, we'd probably lean towards that they weren't going to do anything. But, Rylan, I would say that they found a perfect fit in Jared McCain. He's fitting in nicely with this squad.
Yeah, he's been an excellent fit for Oklahoma City, and both in the short term and the long term. Right now, you're seeing him kind of hop aboard a moving train and do so really well, just to fit this team style offensively and add a style to their team where they have now another movement shooter who can free himself up off the ball. You look at yesterday against Brooklyn, that no-dip three he hit on a cross-court skip pass. Like, guys on this team just could not do that last year. They just didn't have the shooter like that McCain is, to where you can get a shot off just almost fabricate out of thin air from his no-dip three, not letting defenses go out and contest him. So what he can do right now is encouraging. But then he also has shown you some flashes of what he can do in the mid-range. And I thought he had his best rim finishing night against Orlando on Tuesday as a member of the Thunder. And these things where his game can kind of expand from this point forward, moving into future seasons. This is still a really young guy. This is still a very highly thought of prospect. And so he's came in, he's injected a lot into this team already. And I think that he's someone that you have to consider to have a role in the postseason. And now that role can, of course, gain steam and lose steam depending upon the matchups and the way the game is flowing, but there will be a role nonetheless for Jared McCain.
Stands out to you from what we've seen from Jared McCain here the last few weeks?
I mean, he's been playing great. He's fit in perfect. He's one of those guys that can do a lot on the court, just from being a 3-level scorer, making plays for other people, and he's still finding his rhythm with the team. So it's good that he's been this good this soon. But yeah, he just watching him play, he competes on both ends of the floor. And he's just another weapon. And to Rylan's point, he's definitely finding his role and going to have a role in the playoffs, because pretty much every team wants shooters, and not necessarily just shooters, but he can do multiple things, to take pressure off of Shai, to take pressure off of Jay Will, just taking pressure off people. And again, having a scorer like that or a weapon like that coming off the bench is definitely it's good to see. But again, he is young and just basically still finding his game, what he's great at, what he's, what basically improve on his strengths, and basically, I don't know, go work on his weaknesses as well. So, but it's a great sign. It's a great sign to see him just playing well and meshing with the team.
Now, Rylan, we were talking on the Tuesday show when it came to March Madness that Sam Presti has a wide net, that he's scouting a lot of different players and getting a good feel for different guys. And, that kind of reminds me of the Jared McCain situation, that they liked Jared coming out of the draft process. Of course, he didn't end up there. He ended up in Philadelphia, but you can probably elaborate on this more. Part of the reason they were so attracted to trading for him was the relationship that they built up prior, the scouting that they saw from him coming out of college that led them to stay interested in Jared McCain and finding that spot for him.
Yeah, Jared and Mark talked about that whenever the trade went down. It was just that they both thought back to their pre-draft visits, going out to dinner, the workouts that they've had, how much that they all kind of connected at an organizational level, how much that McCain really valued what the organization valued, and of course, organization valued what McCain valued. And so it was just a perfect fit from that standpoint. And that's really what the pre-draft process is about. And there's going to be every year, there's rumors that leak out of who each team is visiting with it. And for some teams in like the 20s, they might visit with Darren Peterson, or they might visit with AJ, but that doesn't mean that they're going to go trade up for the number one overall pick at all. But you want to have, this is your last chance to legally talk to these players until they hit free agency. And so you want to have that kind of rapport with them, or at least feel out what they're about. Because if you do see a situation like McCain pop up where you have a chance to trade for him, then you want to know what this guy's about, who this guy is. And how many times have we seen a player like Trae Young, for example? Trae Young got traded. He was thought of as this top 5 pick, and he got traded out of nowhere this year once the kind of writing was on the wall of where these two entities were going, him and the Hawks. You want to be able to, kind of talk to these pre-draft guys, even the ones that you don't think you can draft, because you want to say, hey, well, if he becomes available, at least we've already talked to him. At least we already know what he's about, and if he can kind of fit here. And that did help things go along with getting McCain.
Certainly did. You're watching the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad show. Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones here with you on this Thursday. Appreciate y'all joining us. Jeremy, when we talk about Jared McCain, what do you see the next level of growth for him being? What does he need to set out to accomplish next within this Oklahoma City Thunder team, you think?
I just think he's going to continue to figure out his role, but I think just continuing to work on his jumper, working on finishing around the rim, maybe get fouled a little more, try to get to the line, because that over an 82-game season, that's one of the things that can keep you consistent, and it slows the game down. When you're on the road and you're getting fouled and stuff like that, it calms the crowd down and stuff like that. So I just think just continuing to work on his game, work on his shot just from off the move. Mid-range is kind of a loss, cause in the game right now, but they got one of the best mid-range shooters on the team. I mean, in the league, and Shai Gilgeous. So just continuing to just shoot his shots, mid-range, get to the rim, threes off the dribble. I think that'll help. And he's been hitting big shots. He just haven't just been hitting, shots and blowouts and stuff. He's been hitting, dagger threes, heartbreaker threes, late in the game. So I think him just continuing to be clutch, continuing to work on his game. I think that's the next step.
One of the things that I like that I've seen from him, and really not just him, but the other guys that have stepped up with J-Dub being out, and the latest reports that we heard, Tim McMahon from ESPN had an update this week that he's involved in warm-ups and such, but he's not doing anything explosive just yet. Still might be a while before he makes his return, but these guys like Jared McCain are filling that gap right now. With J-Dub out at the moment, they're filling in nicely, making up for what this team is missing with J-Dub right now.
Yeah, they're all kind of picking up the slack, and they're doing it in unique ways. I mean, even guys like iHeart and J-Will are picking up the slack in terms of their ability to create offense, which is like what J-Dub's whole thing is. Whenever Shai's not on the court, he's the guy that really orchestrates your entire group on that end of the floor. And J-Will and iHeart have picked up that end of the court as well. AJ has been fantastic, and I think that what's so encouraging about this stretch is, J-Dub is going to come back at some point. You don't know when he's going to come back. You don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back, and you don't know how much time he's going to have to ramp up when he comes back. With all of those variables, AJ's play is a lot more encouraging than anything else. Not to take anything away from those other guys who have stepped up, but it's because that AJ Mitchell can take a lot of the pressure off of J-Dub. At least you have a guy who can create his own shot. You have a guy who can create for others. You have a guy who can get to the free throw line and slow the game down, to Jeremy's point. You have someone who can replicate in a way the mold of what J-Dub was on the offensive end, and take that pressure off of him to where it's not all on him to create that, and keep J-Dub in a reasonable role of his ability to cut, his ability to knock down catch and shoot jumpers, his ability to play off of Shai. Well, now he's playing off of AJ Mitchell if he needs to, if that's kind of where he's at once he returns. And if J-Dub is better than expected when he returns, and if he's back to being a ball dominant, incredible shot creator in the mid-range and an awesome scorer at the rim, well, then AJ can also play off ball as well, and he can knock down those threes in the catch and shoot looks. And so those two guys fitting each other so well, it really is encouraging to see where AJ Mitchell is at, because now, even with all the variables around J-Dub, you still feel pretty confident that this team, at least compared to last year's team, will be better in the half court whenever Shai's not on the court to lead them and to kind of bail them out. They'll be better because of AJ.
About it. And I think about, when we get closer to the playoffs, and as Rylan and I both mentioned, we don't know when J-Dub's coming back, hopefully sooner than later. But I look at this, Jeremy. I don't think this team can win a championship without J-Dub. But if he is going to take a little extra time, if it takes him a round or so to get up to his full speed, I feel confident enough that this team can get by, at least for a little while anyway, with guys like McCain and AJ stepping up to fill the void and until J-Dub's fully there and ready to go. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree in terms of, they can't win a championship. Well, I don't want to say they can't. It'll be tough to win a championship without him, but I feel like you're right. They can get through a series, especially if they will have home court advantage. They can get through a series and stuff like that to kind of hold down the fort until he gets back. But yeah, as far as winning the championship, he's so vital to the team. He adds a different aspect in terms of his playmaking. And he's obviously a great scorer. He had some great games last year in the playoffs. So he's proven that he could play, no matter how big or small the game is. But yeah, hopefully he can get back soon. But he definitely got to take his time, just because you don't want him, re-aggravating some and stuff like that. So it's kind of a tough spot. But hopefully he can get back sooner than later.
Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. We'll talk about the MVP race in a moment. Also, three-point shooting. We've seen some improvement there. We'll dissect those numbers coming up as we continue here on the Thunder Squad Show. Stay with us. Spring is the perfect time to refresh your space and make your home better for you. Whether it's updating a room, adding some outdoor furniture, or finally organizing that cluttered corner, it's a great chance to bring a fresh look into your home. That's where Wayfair comes in, from furniture and decor to organization solutions and outdoor essentials. Wayfair makes it easy to find pieces that match your style and your budget. What I like about shopping on Wayfair is how simple the process is. You can filter by style, size, and price, so you find exactly what works for your space. The thousands of reviews make it easy to shop with confidence. Whether it's a new desk for a home office, some storage solutions, or outdoor pieces for spring, it's easy to find something that fits both your style and your daily routine. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We continue here on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, Tyler Jones back here with you now. And, folks, we want to thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out the new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for the Locked On Thunder podcast, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for listeners of this show. All you have to do, folks, is go to lockedonthunder.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Guys, let's talk about the MVP race now. SGA continuing that 20-point game streak. Last night, 20 points, 8 of 9 from the field. He had 40 against Orlando the night before, going 17 of 27 from the field. And then he, of course, had 20 against Minnesota, and prior to that, 35 against Boston. SGA continuing on a hot streak right now. Jeremy, we'll start with you here. I think unless somehow he doesn't hit that 65-game threshold of sorts, this MVP race is his for the taking at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely run away with it. I mean, you know, you got to factor in team success. You factor in just how, I mean, obviously he's been playing at an elite level. Teams are trying to do whatever they can to stop him. They're trying to do whatever they can to keep him off the free throw line, to not give him easy looks. But he's just a walking bucket. Like, he won't be denied. Like, he continues to just put pressure on the defense. And the thing I like about him is he doesn't do a lot of complaining. You know, even when he gets fouled and don't get the call, he's not, you know, looking at the ref. Every now and then, if it's a blatant foul, he might say something, but he just get right to business. He doesn't complain. He doesn't blame anybody if he's missing shots or whatever it is. He goes out there, he wants to win. And you could tell in his game, and just him, you know, he's extremely efficient. To have a team do everything they can to stop you and you're still efficient, he's definitely running away with the MVP race, just simply because, one, he's killing, and two, team success. But, you know, the MVP is a weird award, because it's so many valuable players. But at the end of the day, he's the best player on the best team in the league. And yeah, he's definitely running away with it if he hasn't already.
Yeah, absolutely. Rylan, the other candidates, we've seen some guys have some spectacular seasons this year, but to kind of give folks an update of some of the other guys that are going on here, you know, Joker was right there with him. The odds shifted dramatically on the sports books after SGA beat Joker head-to-head, a week or two ago. Wemby's been fantastic. But then the Pistons, I know Cade Cunningham has been really good this year. Jeremy's been a big fan of Cade. They got some unfortunate news with him today with a collapsed lung, and he's going to be out indefinitely here.
Yeah, I mean, Cade is practically out of the running now. He still has 5 games that he needs to play to become eligible for the award, and the estimated timeline here for the collapse lung is anywhere from an average of like 10 games that people typically miss. So like CJ McCollum missed 18 games once with a collapse lung, so it's anywhere from like the whole rest of the regular season to, hey, he can maybe come back with like 3 or 4 games left. So it'll be very difficult for him to become eligible, which is a shame because like that also means not just the MVP. That means that Cade Cunningham, if he's ineligible, of course, won't be on an all-NBA team. And that's where the problem with this rule just really comes into play because, the all-NBA team, you cannot tell the story of this season without how incredible Cade Cunningham has been. Like him leading this Pistons team, like that deserves to be marked in history forever. And because he's played 61 games instead of 65 games, like all of a sudden now we're not going to be able to tell that story. But I do think that Luka's making a great surge. I think that when you look at how he's played and what he's done for these Lakers since the All-Star break, this is someone that you're going to start to see the media machine get behind. You're going to start to see the Lakers campaign for it very hard, as you saw on Twitter already this morning. Luka is going to be making a big push for this award. The efficiency and the wins, I think, carry Shai to being the MVP. But Luka, what he's doing nightly, what he's doing in the clutch, it's obviously going to get a lot of headlines and a lot of attention. And his games will largely matter more down the stretch than Shai's will. Shai still has some big opportunities coming up, but the Lakers are fighting for anywhere from the 3 seed to the 7 seed. So like these games are naturally more volatile. They're naturally going to get him on the grand stage like he did yesterday against the Rockets, and he's playing so excellently in these big time spots. I think that Luka will settle in to this MVP race as affirmatively number 2 behind Shai.
Luka is the number 2 candidate there. We'll see what goes on. As far as Shai's season goes, Jeremy, he's done so many things well. What has stood out to you specifically? What's impressed you the most from what we've seen from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here in this 25 through 26 season?
I just like how he's not forcing anything. He lets the game come to him. Obviously he's aggressive and stuff like that, but he makes the right plays. He competes on both ends, and it's a lot of energy that he's putting out each game, but it doesn't look like he's slowing down. And I also like how he doesn't, even though he can shoot the 3, he doesn't settle for the 3. He basically he takes what the defense gives him. If they playing off too far, he'll still sometimes attack, try to get to the line, try to get to the rim, because that's his bread and butter. But I just like that he doesn't fall in love with the 3, but then he'll come out and hit a clutch 3. So he keeps the defense on their toes, because an unpredictable player is the hardest person to guard. When you don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to shoot, if they're going to attack you, if they're going to shoot behind the screen, if, whatever it is, when you're unpredictable, it's hard to guard. And that's what sticks out to me. He doesn't settle for the 3, and he's extremely unpredictable in the clutch. You don't know if he's going to get to his mid-range, he's going to try to get to the rim, or if he's going to pull up and, shoot that 3 on you. So I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me.
And Rylan, one thing that we've seen in the last few games is his ability to make such an impact without scoring a whole lot either. Like last night, he missed 1 shot from field goal range and still got his 20 points. He had the 40 plus against Orlando the other night. And then you go back to Sunday against Minnesota when he has an off night shooting. He was really good defensively, and he was getting his teammates involved here. Like, I know we talked so much about the scoring and the scoring record of passing Wilt and everything, but there's a whole lot more that makes SGA so effective.
Yeah, well, last night his one miss was the cleanest look of the season he's ever gotten. It fell into his lap on the offensive rebound, and he kind of hung at the front of the rim and didn't get the bounce. But he's been so great as a facilitator. He's truly made a step forward as a playmaker this year, and it's from one, his willingness to be more creative with his passes and to be more dangerous with his passes. But he's such a better live dribble passer where he's not waiting until the defense makes him play into a crowd, makes him pick up his dribble, and then you've got to read the defense. He's doing it on the fly, and that's setting up his teammates in a big way. And you saw last night how often that he was able to leverage how much attention that you've got to give Shai. Even if you try to defend Shai one-on-one, if you really watch the play unfold, and a big thing that I'd encourage you to do is not watch the ball whenever the play's unfolding. Even if Shai only has one body in front of him, everyone is shifting toward Shai. So they're going to start the gap whenever he's about to drive to the left. Then the low man's going to rotate from the right block to the left block to make sure he can soak up Shai if Shai gets to the rim. And it moves the entire defense. And so now Shai can pick that apart with his improved playmaking. And it's been incredible to watch him continue to get better because, Tyler, every year we always say, well, that was the best he can ever do, right? I mean, come on. He won the scoring title. He won the MVP. He swept the MVP awards and won a championship. I mean, he's better. He's better than he was last year, and that is remarkable to say. But his playmaking and his passing, it's been incredible to see him put his teammates in great spots, and now you're getting to see the benefits of that with the additions of McCain, with the improvements of Isaiah Joe, with these guys who can finish off those plays.
It's remarkable, dude, to say the least. You're watching the Thunder Squad show here on the Lockdown Podcast Network. Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones here with you. We're talking all about the MVP race here in the 25 through 26 campaign. Jeremy, I think we have to sit back for a moment. And I know that we've talked for a long time how this is only the beginning for Oklahoma City, you know, that they won that championship, what some would say ahead of schedule. But I'm looking at now, like we talk about things, you know, are they going to get better for SGA and all this? Like you kind of got to step back and, you know, live in the moment of sorts of like, wow, this is actually happening of seeing the basketball SGA's playing right now. Like I don't think we can take this for granted what we're witnessing here.
Yeah, I mean he's doing it so much that we just are used to it. You know, to have this 20-point streak, it's like he automatically is going to get 20 points. Like that's not easy to do. Playing against the best players in the world, to do it every night over and over and over again is unheard of. And that's a streak that you know, if you had to bet your money, you probably would have been like, nobody's ever going to catch that. But for him to be that consistent, that efficient, and again, he doesn't force anything. He's playing the game to win. He's not out there stat chasing and whatever, but the team needs him to be aggressive, and he knows that. You know, he's the head of the snake. He's the leader of the team, and if, you know, through 82 game season, through the playoffs, whatever it is, you know, if you're on his team that you have a chance to win. So, yeah, we can't get bored with his greatness or used to it because, you know, we see it all the time. But the way he's able to just continue to do it night in and night out, and he's available too. Like he's not, you know, sometimes he gets a little banged up or whatever, sit out a couple games, but he's available. So, yeah, again, for him to do it night in and night out, it's amazing. And yeah, we can't get bored with it.
Rylan, last question I'll send to you here. I will admit this might be premature to ask this question, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there anyway. We already know that Shai is the greatest player in franchise history. That was cemented when they won that championship, doing something that no player had done before. Now looking at it, and as mentioned, there's still a lot of time left. Where do we think Shai's place belongs among the all-time greats at this point?
I mean, the list can go a lot of different ways, where it's like just the best overall players, regardless of position, regardless of anything else. Like he's still working his way up that list. But if you break down these lists into like these niche skills of like he's the most talented scorer, like that can do it efficiently that I've seen. Like he's just an unbelievably talented scorer who can get a shot off in a phone booth, who can use his strength to knock you off your spot and rise up and hit a jumper. He's someone who has this kind of awkward mobility where he's able to have this herky-jerky style of throwing you off without exceptional burst, without exceptional quickness, but he can still get to the rim around you. What he's able to do as a scorer is something that I think puts him in a top 10, at least top 15 discussion in terms of a guy who can just score the basketball and do so efficiently all time. Like he's that good. Now, to get on the regular all-time list where you're not breaking this down into niche categories, and into some certain qualifiers, he's obviously got to do with this more. He's got to do this for another few seasons here. Who knows if you look at this team, Tyler, even that Mavericks series in 2024, you look back on it and yeah, they lost in 6 games but they had a 0-point differential because you could put any slop lineup out there around Shai and he's going to carry that offensive lineup to make you a productive basketball team. Same thing happens with Shai throughout his OKC tenure, where you can put such incredible defensively slanted lineups of guys that are really net neutral at best, let's just put it kindly, on the offensive end of the floor. And yet Shai still drags that team to a top 5 offense, to an efficient offense, to an offense capable of winning. Only historic guys can do that. And that's what Shai is. He's a historic player.
I think if he retired tomorrow, we would have to consider him among the top 50 or at least 75 players to ever play the game at this point. I think he's already there. The next step is going to be how high does he go among the all-time great discussion. And fortunately, we have a front row seat to see it all happening unfold before our very eyes. Plenty more to come on the Thunder Squad Show. Let's talk about three-point shooting. We've seen some improvement there from Oklahoma City. Also, the playoff picture. How are things stacking up in the Western Conference? We'll dissect all of that coming up as we're halfway home here on the Thunder Squad Show. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's in-network, nearby, and has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens, makes you feel comfortable, and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering 200 specialists from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and eye care. I'll admit it, I've definitely put off doctor appointments longer than I should. It was about 4 years between doctor appointments for yours truly. Between work, life, and everything else, it's easy to delay. ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms and actually build a care team that works for you. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. We continue here on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb back here with you now. Folks, I want to plug my guy Rylan for a moment. He had a great article earlier this week over on the SI Thunder site talking about the three-point shooting situation with the Thunder, how what once looked like a weakness for this Thunder team in the postseason last year all of a sudden looks to be a strength, and the numbers articulate that as well. Rylan, go ahead and dive in case people missed it, and if they haven't already, they should go check it out and see what you wrote, because they have flipped the script on this.
Yeah, they really have. You look at this Thunder team last year, their half-court offense really cratered at times in the postseason, especially if you were to take SGA off the floor, which to the Thunder's defense, it doesn't happen all that often come playoff time, but it happens enough where like these games are so tightly competitive and contested that you really need to win each portion of minutes. And so with that being said, the Thunder's half-court offense this year, especially since Jared McCain has arrived, and I will say, it does sound like we're saying everything is about Jared McCain. That does coincide with A.J. Mitchell being healthier. That does coincide with, Isaiah Hartenstein being healthier during this stretch. Like, it's about this group that they found, this identity that they found of how they can score the basketball. Because when you watch this Thunder team play, we said it on Tuesday, now more than ever, they have a distinct style about what they do best. So you watch the start of the second quarter when Shai's on the bench. They're running DHOs, and off of those DHOs, they have counters to whatever the defense wants to do. How many times do you see a defense try to jump that DHO and try to play Joe really tight, and Joe just shot fakes and takes him to the mid-range and either shoots a mid-range jumper or kicks it out to somebody else. And then you look at how they can keep that ball moving and how they can allow for, if Jay Will's in there, you can allow for these opportunities where off those DHOs, you kick it right back to Jay Will for a three. If it's iHeart in those DHOs, he can fake that DHO and then put a one dribble down and get into the lane and throw up a floater. Like, there's just so many wrinkles to this secondary offense. And we're talking about the offense when Shai's not out there. When Shai's not out there, they just have more release fouls because Joe and McCain can get it done from three and in the mid-range. Joe can get it done as a playmaker. He's really impressed as a guy who can keep that ball spinning around the perimeter. And they have these two high-end playmakers, and they have A.J. Mitchell. Like, A.J. Mitchell is kind of becoming an afterthought in a way because of McCain. A.J. Mitchell's really freaking good. Like, A.J. Mitchell, is a guy who could become a starter, is a guy who possibly could become an all-star if you believe in some of the advanced metrics. Now, that for me is a bit of a stretch, but hey, there's advanced metrics out there that suggest that he's going to be on an all-star trajectory if he keeps this up. And what's important to note here is what's been their best lineup whenever Shai's not out there. It's been AJ, it's been Joe, McCain, iHeart, and Chet, or Jay Will and Chet. One of the playmaking big and Chet. And you would think to yourself, man, like for as good as the Thunder are defensively, that's a pretty shaky defensive lineup. But then you dig into it, and Chet by himself is a floor-raising defender. He anchors the defense at the rim. But also, have you looked into the A.J. Mitchell defense? A.J. Mitchell, when matchups hunt him in isolation, they've shot 21 times and made 3 shots on A.J. Mitchell in isolation. Like, he by himself is a good defender, but doesn't get the notoriety because, of course, there's 50 other great defenders on this team compared to AJ. So all these guys have improved on both ends of the floor to the point that you dig into the numbers as we did in that article, and you see that the Thunder are actually a lot better now than they were, even though they might not hit 68 wins, even though they might not hit the 70 wins, of course, they're not going to, that we thought that they could at 24-1. They've still internally improved and, of course, added Jared McCain throughout this season to be in a better spot right now today than they were even last year. And they won a championship last year.
Yeah. Well, and you go back to that postseason run last year, and in the games they lost or times that they were struggling in the third or fourth quarter, the offense got stagnant, right? And then you fast forward to this year now, and you look at this roster, and it's pretty similar to what it was last year. They didn't make a whole lot of changes, but basically what you've done is, in a nutshell, Jeremy, you've taken last year's team and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, now you add A.J. Mitchell and you add Jared McCain to that. I mean, they were already good enough last year, and now you got 2 more pieces to work with potentially heading in the postseason here.
Yeah, like you said, we didn't know if they was going to make any trades or do anything at the deadline, and for them to pick up McCain and the emergence of A.J. Mitchell is great. I didn't even know who he was at the beginning of the season, but just seeing how he can.
Don't worry.
Yeah, but you can see how he gets to the rim. He's tough to guard. People. He can get to the free throw line as well. But it speaks to Sam Presti, who he's not satisfied. He's going to continue to just figure out how to make the team better. No matter, like you said, they won the championship last year, and they got better. Like he's not, just out here satisfied or thinking like, okay, we're good, for however long. No, he's going to continue to push the envelope and continue to find ways to make them better, find more weapons, to be able to sustain this, because this is a short window. It's not like, you know, you can be a great team for 10 or 15 years. Like, before you know it, 5-6 years will go by, and then you just got to figure out how to continue to get better, continue to, like I said, push the envelope, continue to help the people that's on the team, what pieces you can bring in to even help their game. So, you go down with injuries and stuff like that. They got a lot of weapons to be able to withstand that. Like we said earlier, throughout the playoffs or, throughout the regular season, they got a deep team and they're able to continue to keep getting better, but continue to just plug and play, basically.
Rylan, there's going to come a time in the postseason when this team has an off-night shooting. Everybody does at some point in this league. And, I mentioned I'm here at PayCon for the first and second round of the tournament, and I think back to there was a Kentucky team with Anthony Davis many years ago that ran a platoon system where 5 in, 5 out, they could get a spark of sorts pretty quick from some other guys. And I'm not saying Oklahoma City's platooning by any stretch, but like you get in that circumstance, if you get off to that slow start, there's a number of guys you can point to and you say, we need to get our offense going. Maybe it's AJ tonight. Maybe it's Jared or Isaiah, or any of these guys, Aaron Wiggins, like that. They have this to their disposal. They have a number of guys they can turn to for that instant offense they could potentially need in April and May and June.
Yeah, you look at it, and I think that you have the right coach as well. Like, Marco is always going to play a lot of guys, and he was asked about this last postseason and the postseason before that of, you're really being an anomaly here, Mark, of the old adage goes, you play 8, you rotate 7, you trust, you trust 6, and you try to go with it there. And instead of shortening the rotations, he is a guy that will still play 10 guys in a playoff game. Now, the minute distribution will be cut for some guys, obviously, but he's going to be willing to try everything. And his mantra is always just having more tools in your toolbox, of having more things to go to. And so, yeah, you can pick on what to do based upon how a game flows and how a series flows. And you can look back to the proof being already in the pudding from last year. The Denver series dictated that, hey, J. Will needs to play a lot of minutes. Like, J. Will has to play a lot against Jokic. J. Will didn't play hardly at all against Memphis or Minnesota or Indiana. But you needed him to win a championship, because you don't get by Denver, you don't win the championship. So he's able to kind of work with this team and push the right buttons and get the right jump start in there. And they can do it with, if they have an off shooting night, hey, can Joe or McCain go in there and launch a few threes and see if that can get them going? If they need to double down on their defense, if it's like, this offense is styling in OKC, but so is theirs. Let's just double down on it, and let's just make them play in a rock fight against us. And we have the closer. We have the guy that leads the NBA in clutch time buckets in SGA. If this game gets to clutch, that's fine with us. Like, we'll go into the rock fight. We'll go into the foxhole with SGA. They can do that by throwing out there, 4 all defensive players next to SGA, who's also getting votes for all defensive player, all defensive teams the last couple of seasons. So they can do pretty much anything that they want to do in the postseason, and they will. You don't have a stubborn coach. There are coaches out there that on April 12th, whenever they kind of catch their breath from the regular season, they list out 8 guys, and those are the 8 guys who are going to play no matter what in the playoffs, regardless of matchup, regardless of anything. Those are the guys that are going to play. That's not Mark's identity. So it's credit to Sam for building a roster that deep. It's a credit to Mark for being willing to play a roster this deep and to change how he's doing. And it's beneficial to the team of, some guys might not play in a round 1 matchup or in a round 2 matchup, but they might need to be playing in the Western Conference Finals, and they can lean on their teammates like a J. Will, who can tell these guys, trust me, stay ready, because it's gonna swing back to you eventually, because they've been there and done that. Look at Kenrich Williams. His minutes have been very spotty, both in the regular season and the postseason. But you got to stay ready, because you never know when it's going to be your time. And so to have those kind of testimonials from the players that it allows you to listen to the coach better when he's telling you to stay ready. And whenever you're going through adversity, because like everybody wants to play, especially when the lights are bright, Jeremy, like you want to be on the court, you want to be impacting the postseason. This is what you guys have all dreamed of, like working to this goal of being in the NBA. And whenever it's not your night in a given night, it obviously can impact you in some way. But when you have the backing of your teammates, when you have the backing of your coach, I think that it'd have to make it a little bit easier to stay in that mold, in that readiness.
And I'll bring up one more point, Jeremy, before we wrap up this segment here. We've gone this far without mentioning Alex Caruso. I know that he's not known for his offense. He's arguably the best defensive guard in the league. But last postseason, he was maybe the third most important player for this Thunder team in the playoffs. And what did he do last year when we talk about offense? Even though he's not known for it, Jeremy, this guy shot 41% from three in the postseason last year. He is certainly capable, in addition to everybody else, of being an impact player on that end if they need him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he, like you said, he's not known for, shooting, but when he shoots, it goes in. And no matter how big or small the game is, like you said, he was extremely important in the postseason. But he's the ultimate 3-and-D guy. I mean, he guard 1 through 5 throughout the playoffs last year. So yeah, he's an extremely important part. He brings the ball up, he gets people involved, he knocks down open shots, and he guards your best offensive player most nights, depending on who's on the court. So yeah, he's extremely important to the Thunder and what they got going on, the way they play. He's one of those guys who just wants to win. He's unselfish. He takes good shots. You barely see him, take a bad shot. So having him, LeBron said that was his favorite teammate. So for LeBron to say that, I mean, that's high praise, for anybody coming from somebody like that.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Final segment ahead. Let's take a look at the playoff picture where things stand for Oklahoma City with just a few weeks left in the regular season. We'll discuss that as we continue here on the Thunder Squad Show. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready, and I've got the number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. I'm going with Cotton Candy, a delicious swirl of sugary clouds, a fruity twist, a hint of vanilla, the sweet side of tasty caffeine. Throwback flavor with a boost, light, airy candy profile, nostalgic carnival-style taste, pure sweetness from start to finish, sweet tooth fixed without any sugar guilt. It's fantastic, folks. And 5-Hour Energy shots give you a boost with 0 sugar. And they have a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned. I would love to see something with chocolate potentially involved. And these flavors, folks, a lot of them are only available for a limited time from 5-Hour Energy that you'll love to see come back. You better take advantage of them while they are out right now. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Check it out now. All right, guys, let's take a look at the playoff picture where things stand in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City in first place at 55-15. San Antonio in second at 51-18. About a 3.5 game lead for Oklahoma City. The Lakers sitting at the 3 spot, 44-25, 10.5 games back. Minnesota's moved up to the 4 spot at 43-27, 12 games back. Houston at the 5 spot, 41-27, 13 games back. Denver at the 6 hole at 42-28, 13 games back. And then the play-in spots currently, the Suns are in 7th, Clippers in 8th, Blazers 9th, and then the Warriors at the 10 spot. So let's look at looking at this playoff picture, starting with you, Jeremy. Oklahoma City, they have a much tougher schedule than San Antonio does to end the season. San Antonio's been winning a lot of games themselves, but how about this for Oklahoma City to go on what is this 9-10 game winning streak now, and still keeping up, doing what they need to do, even with San Antonio having a tough, an easier schedule than them here.
Yeah, San Antonio is right behind them, but yeah, they just continue to get better. They, fight through whatever they've been going through, like, injuries and guys sitting out, whatever it is. They've been able to just get through it all just by playing together. And obviously they've had Shai, who's been their probably most consistent, or he's been on the court. So when you have, obviously a guy like that, you have a chance to win. But he, them as a team, they just play together. It's always the next man up. And yeah, the playoff picture is going to be interesting coming down the stretch. Just some teams are playing well, like you said, San Antonio. Houston is a little up and down, but they can get hot for a series. Denver. So they're gonna have their struggles throughout the playoffs, just like they did last year. They might have to win a game on the road. They might end up losing home court advantage and got to, just figure out how to really, get some wins. But yeah, I feel like they'll go into the playoffs with a nice little cushion, and then that's when the real season starts, is when the playoffs start.
So, Rylan, looking at the way things stand right now, with Denver sitting in that 6th spot, then that would put them in a series with the Lakers in the first round, with the winner of that taking on the winner of in theory, Spurs Suns series. So it looks like that the Thunder, depending on if things hold to serve, might be able to avoid playing both San Antonio and Denver here, potentially speaking, if Houston can keep this up.
Yeah, that would be ideal for Oklahoma City. You either want to see Denver stay at 6 or climb all the way up to 3, which right now, they're 2.5 games back of the 3-seeded LA Lakers, who are playing some great basketball. They've won 7 in a row. They've really started to click. The Lakers have. And so this would be pretty ideal for the Thunder to see the Lakers, who are surging right now, be on the opposite side of the bracket, the Nuggets, who are ultra talented, on the opposite side of the bracket, and the Spurs, who are the biggest competition, on the opposite side of the bracket. Meanwhile, you have Minnesota and Houston in the 4-5. Houston has zero chance. They're not even going to beat Minnesota. They are just a bad basketball team right now due to the injuries that they've sustained, and they have zero chance to beat Oklahoma City if they somehow did beat Minnesota. But Minnesota, as you saw on Sunday, they're a good team, and you can't, discredit them. They've made 2 straight Western Conference Finals. However, styles makes fights, and matchups are everything in the postseason. Minnesota just does not match up very well with Oklahoma City. They match up well with Denver. They match up well with a lot of other teams, but not Oklahoma City. And you're going to see sort of the same thing play out in the second round that you did last year in the Western Conference Finals, a 5, maybe 6-game series against Minnesota in round 2. And like we mentioned before, these playing teams, the Suns are good, scrappy, and fun. The Clippers do have Kawhi. They can't beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. The better team usually always wins in a 7-game series. And that's why the NBA has so few upsets. And the upsets that they do have, you can remember off the top of your head, like the We Believe Warriors back in the day. So the Thunder are sitting in a great spot right now. The Thunder would really hope that you could just freeze the standings right here and have no more movement in the Western Conference, because this would be the ideal draw for Oklahoma City.
Jeremy, we have focused much of the year on the teams to beat in the West being Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Denver. And as Rylan mentioned, the Lakers have played red hot as of late. Luka's put himself in the MVP discussion. Are the Lakers a force to be reckoned with? Is that a team Oklahoma City should keep an eye on at all?
Yeah, just because when you got Luka, LeBron, Reeves, you can get hot in a series. I wouldn't be worried about it, but The only thing, like the Lakers, I just feel like when Luka starts to dribble too much and take home run shots and stuff like that, like he makes a lot of shots, but he also misses a lot of shots. So just when they're getting everybody involved, throwing lobs, getting out on the on the break, I feel like they're a better team. I wouldn't worry about them. They are playing good basketball, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes their offense is stagnant, and if if Luka's not hitting those home run shots, then it's tough for them to win.
Rylan, when you look at the rest of the West of just a potential playoff picture, where do you see some potential maybe surprises or some upsets? Like who do you like that could maybe shake things up, or who do you think maybe is a pretender that's closer to the top?
It's interesting because I obviously 3 and 6, you would imagine that the 6th seed would be the upsetter. I think that if the Lakers and Nuggets played in a 3-6 and the Lakers were the 3, people would still favor Denver in that series. But I think that the Lakers match up pretty well with the Nuggets. They've been able to put Jokic in these unique situations where he does get into some turnover problems for this matchup with the Lakers. And to Jeremy's point, the Lakers, it's a star-driven league, and they have Luka Doncic and they have LeBron. They have these guys who can step up. And if it becomes a shot variant series where maybe you see some of these guys like Jake hit some big-time shots, hit some big-time threes, that could help the Lakers pull off a quote-unquote upset, because I do think that the Nuggets, even though they're the lower seed, would be the favorites. But past that, I think that the first time that you really can get into any sort of danger territory with an upset would be the Spurs in the second round. If you buy into the notion that they're inexperienced, if you buy into the notion that they need to get some games under their belt before they can make a big run, if they've got to take on a championship core with Denver, you saw that Denver pushed OKC last year to 7 games. They could push the Spurs the distance as well. I think that the Spurs would win. I think the Spurs are a better team. I think that the Spurs and Thunder are on a collision course to play in the Western Conference Finals. But the Nuggets could make things interesting against San Antonio if they can get by the Lakers. So I think that that bottom half of the bracket is what you'd really be looking for in the West, because the top half, as it sits right now, I don't have any interest in watching Minnesota versus the Rockets. I think that Minnesota is going to just dominate them. I think that the Thunder will dominate whoever comes out of the play-in tournament. So the bottom half of the bracket, though, can get spicy for sure.
If you want to invite Rylan to your wedding, just schedule it on any night of the T-Wolves Rockets series, and he'll be available. Show up. Folks, we want to thank you for tuning in to the Locked On Thunder podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow the Locked On Thunder podcast so you get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get the Locked On Thunder podcast ad-free, plus the members-only Discord access and more. Head over to lockedonthunder.supercast.com to join the club, and you can get that in the show notes as well. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA. Jeremy, as we're wrapping up here, how important is it for Oklahoma City to avoid playing both Denver and San Antonio?
I think they can beat both of those teams. I would rather definitely avoid the Spurs, but I don't think they trying to avoid anybody. They getting better as a team, and as people get healthier and healthier, I just feel like they'll be the best team. Come playoff time, they'll be playing their best basketball. But I would try to avoid. I would definitely want to avoid the Spurs, but Denver, I think they can beat Denver. I know they have a tough time with them at times and stuff like that, but home court advantage, I feel like they'll be able to definitely get Denver, but I would want to avoid the Spurs, but they're not ducking nobody.
Rylan, Thunder off for the next 2 days after playing it back-to-back. Then it's the Wizards on Saturday, Sixers on Monday, and then wrap up this East Coast swing with the Celtics on Wednesday night. The 5-game East Coast road trip for Oklahoma City. wrapping up for the next couple days, and you'll be all over it right here on the Locked On Thunder podcast.
That's right. Every single day, Monday through Friday, plus our bonus shows, plus our game recaps, including this Saturday night after the Wizards game. The Thunder's got to keep taking care of business. I mean, obviously, the Celtics game is a coin toss, but before then, you got to beat Washington by a lot. You got to beat Philadelphia, and then you head into that Celtics game, riding a 12-game winning streak, and you feel really good about the chances there. So it'll be a lot of fun. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast from. We have Justin Martinez from the Oklahoman on tomorrow's show, live from Brooklyn, where the team is still at after they practice today. So it'll be a lot of fun to catch up with him and see where this Thunder team needs to go on this East Coast trip.
Great stuff as always, guys. Cool to be in the Paycom Center today for this show. We'll be back again on Tuesday, 3:30 Central Time. We will see you then. For Jeremy Lamb and Rylan Stiles and Tyler Jones saying so long. Have a great weekend, everybody.